Meeting that Chinese Ambassador Xing Haiming's attitude brought into question. To deliberate on this issue and take appropriate actions. What's your comment?
我注意到韩方的相关表。
I have noted the statements from the ROK side. We have also noted the ROK media's reports on Ambassador Xing Haiming, which are inconsistent with facts or even involve personal attacks. We regret this. Ambassador Xing's broad engagement and exchange with people of all walks of life in the ROK is part of his duty. The aim is to promote understanding and cooperation and the development of our bilateral relations. It should not be a target for hype-up. It serves our common interests to work for the sound and steady development of China-ROK relations. We hope the ROK will work together with us and make efforts for this purpose. Next one, please.
TASS. According to Hong Kong media Xingtao Daily, the Chinese ambassador to France, Lu Shaye, will return and work as the chief of the Chinese People's Association for Friendship with Foreign Countries and be involved in public diplomacy. Can you give us more detail? Thank you.
可以提供的消息。
I have no information to offer. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。总台央视记者提问：据报道，美国国务院发言人
CCTV, according to reports, the U.S. State Department spokesperson recently said that the U.S. has delivered a letter to UNESCO informing that the country has decided to join the organization. Yesterday, DG Azole announced U.S. request. What is your comment? We noted relevant U.S. statement. We hope that this time the U.S. decision is made out of sense of responsibility and aimed at supporting multilateralism and contributing to international cooperation. The U.S. withdrew twice from UNESCO, which had a negative impact on the organization's work. The membership of an international organization is something that should be taken seriously. If the U.S. is serious about what it means to rejoin the organization, it needs to show the sincerity of observing rules and respecting international rule of law, and earnestly fulfill its due international obligation as a responsible nation, including paying off its over $600 million arrears owed to UNESCO for years. International organizations are not parks. Countries cannot just come and go as they please. More importantly, the U.S. must not view international organizations as places for geopolitical wrestling and pursue global leadership in the name of the interests of the international community. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。中新社记者提问：据了解，东盟地
China News Service. The ASEAN Regional Forum Senior Officials Meeting will be held soon. Is there anything you can share with us about China's participation and also China's expectation for the meeting? The ARF SOM will be held via video link on June the 14th. Participants will review the implementation of the outcomes of last year's ARF ministerial meeting, discuss mechanism building and future development of the ARF, and exchange views on regional and international issues. Assistant Foreign Minister No Rong will attend the meeting. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the ARF. We hope that parties will build up consensus and enhance cooperation and accumulate outcomes for this year's ministerial meeting and contribute to peace, development, and prosperity of the region. Next one, please.
Question from Bloomberg. Can you confirm that the Chinese embassy in Poland has been talking to the Ministry of Culture and National Heritage there about an art show in Warsaw by the Australian artist Badio Cao? And if so, what is the desired outcome of such talks? So basically, the question is about the Australian artist exhibition in Poland. Thank you.
彭博社提问：
说的情况，我想说，
I'm not aware of what you just mentioned. I would like just to say that cultural exchange should be conducive to promoting objective understanding and friendship. Next one, please.
Thank you. TBS. Human rights NGO have pointed out that overseas outposts of Chinese police are monitoring democratic activists and others in Japan. And there are some testimonies to this. Is this true? And do you have any comments on this? Thank you.
东京广播电视台提问：有人权组织称，有证据显示中国海外警察站正在监视在日本的民主活动人士等，请问这是否属实？中方对此有何评论？
我们已经多次就相
We have stated our position on relevant statements on multiple occasions. Let me stress again that there is no such thing as overseas Chinese police centers. China is committed to non-interference. We abide by international law and respect all countries' judicial sovereignty. We hope relevant parties will be based on facts and rationality and avoid using the issue to smear China. Next one, please.
还有其他的问题吗？
Anything else?
TASS. According to Shanghai Securities News, one senior executive of a Chinese photovoltaic enterprise was taken away by some in uniforms in the Munich airport in Germany. The executive was to participate in the Intersolar Europe exhibition in Munich. Can you give us more details?
我的报道，
I have noted the reports. The Chinese embassy in Germany and our consulate general in Munich immediately contacted the German side for information and asking the German side to protect the Chinese company and individuals' lawful rights and interests. We also noted that the relevant industry association has offered clarifications on the incident. The Chinese government attaches high importance to the interests of overseas Chinese and will continue to provide consular assistance in accordance with law.
Another question from Bloomberg. The U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is expected to testify on Capitol Hill on Tuesday and is set to praise institutions like the IMF and the World Bank as reflecting American values. Does the Foreign Ministry have a comment on this characterization or this sort of praise of the IMF and World Bank as reflecting American values? Thank you.
彭博社提问：美国财长耶伦在周二在国会山进行证词，他在证词中提出 ，IMF 以及世界银行都是反映美国价值观的机构。中方对此说法有何评论？尤其是对这种对 IMF 和世界银行的赞扬来说，有什么评论？
国际货币基金组织和世界银行
The IMF and World Bank are multilateral financial institutions. They are platforms reflecting greater democracy in international relations, and they are platforms for international cooperation on the basis of reflection of all member states' interests. They are not called the IMF or the World Bank of the United States. Next one, please.
环球时报记者提问：据美国媒体报道，德国调查人员掌握的证据显示，北溪管线爆炸时
U.S. media have reported that German investigators obtained evidence suggesting the Nord Stream blast was carried out by a sabotage team. Other reports say the U.S. received information on an attack plan against the pipelines 3 months before the sabotage. What's your comment? We have expressed on multiple occasions that safeguarding the security of vital infrastructure is a common concern of the world, it is important to launch an objective, impartial, and professional investigation into the explosions and hold those responsible to account. 8 months have passed, yet the investigation has been going slow. It is surprising that the U.S. has remained silent this time, especially considering that it will usually use hotspot issues to portray itself as a so-called beacon. We can look at what the U.S. has done to Syria, for example. The turbulence in the country began on April 2011, and on April 27th, the U.S. moved at the UN that the OHCHR sent an investigation mission to Syria for violation of international human rights law. A few days later, the U.S. declared that Syria had seriously violated human rights and imposed sanctions. Within just a week, it completed the process from investigation to sanctions. Since then, it has further meddled in Syria through various means, including funding white helmets with fabricated evidence, carrying out airstrikes, expanding sanctions, and exerting pressure together with allies. Clearly, nothing could stop it until it has its way. Compared with the aggressive response to Syria, the U.S.'s inaction on the Nord Stream pipeline blast seems quite intriguing. Why is the silence? Is there something the U.S. wants to hide? When will the U.S. respond to international doubts and concerns? On all this, the U.S. owes the international community an explanation. Next one, please.
Question on the U.S. Commerce Department restriction of exports to entities that it says recruited Western pilots to train Chinese military personnel, as well as some that developed hypersonic weapons. So this is in relation to the addition of new companies to the entity list as a result of them recruiting Western pilots to train Chinese military personnel. Does the Foreign Ministry have a comment on this? Thank you.
美国商务部宣布对一些实体进行出口限制，并将其列入实体清单，其中就包括一些雇佣西方飞行员、培训中方军方人员以及一些超音速武器制造商。中方对此有何评论？
美方为了维护自身军事科技。
The U.S., in an attempt to safeguard its military and technological hegemony, has time and again overstretched the national security concept and used state power to go after Chinese companies. This has undermined international trade order and trade rules and destabilized the global industrial supply chains. It has reached a level of unscrupulous hysteria. We firmly oppose this and ask the U.S. to immediately stop using military or human rights related issues as a pretext to politicize and weaponize trade issues, and stop abusing its entity list to go after Chinese companies. We'll continue to do what is necessary to safeguard Chinese companies' lawful rights and interests.
北京日报记者提问：据报道，有多名消息人士对美国新闻网站信使称，受俄侵略乌等因素的推动，美国政府正在研拟在台美国公民的撤侨预案。
Facing daily, U.S. media website The Messenger reported that due to concern about rising tensions across the Taiwan Strait, the U.S. government is drafting plans for the evacuation of citizens from Taiwan. Given the sensitivity on the Taiwan side on this, the U.S. has not made this public. Do you have any comment? I'm not aware of this, but we know the U.S. talks about supporting Taiwan, but what it really does is using Taiwan as a pawn and the Taiwan people as cannon fodder. And to serve its strategy of using Taiwan to contain China, it has even formulated plans for the destruction of Taiwan. We believe the people of Taiwan will recognize the true face of the U.S. trying to destroy Taiwan.
The U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said former President Donald Trump's administration didn't do enough to counter Chinese efforts to boost intelligence gathering overseas. Does the Foreign Ministry have any comments on Secretary Blinken's remarks saying that the Trump administration didn't do enough to counter China's efforts to boost intelligence gathering overseas? And relatedly, do you have any information or details to share about the planned visit by Secretary Blinken to the US, to China? So that's two parts. The second part being, do you have any more information about the visit to China? Thank you.
美国国务卿布林肯称，
就相关问题表明中方立场。
I have stated China's position on this. This is nothing but an old play by the US. There's nothing new about it. We hope the US will reflect upon itself, stop spreading rumors, and stop spying on other countries as the empire of hackers. Regarding the visit you asked about, I already answered that question and have nothing new to add. Next one, please.
So I'd just like to double back again on an earlier question, just want to rephrase it. This is in regard to the Chinese ambassador to France, Liu Xiaoye, who will, according to reports, finish his term in Paris. Can the Foreign Ministry confirm that he will finish his appointment as ambassador in Paris? Is that accurate report? And if so, does that finishing of his appointment to France have anything to do with his earlier statements in April, where in the media he questioned the independence of former Soviet states? Thank you.
我刚才已经回答过这个问题。下一。
I already answered this question. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。东方卫视记者提问。那么我们看到有报道说，昨天起，日本东京电力公司开始。
Dragon TV reports say TEPCO began a 2-week trial run of facilities to dump the nuclear contaminated water from Fukushima into the ocean. Japanese media believe the Japanese government will have all preparation done at the end of June and start the actual discharge after the IAEA final report is released. Do you have any comments? We note the report with concern. The trial run marks a further step towards ocean discharge. To dispose of the nuclear contaminated water into the ocean bears on global marine environment and public health. Is not Japan's private matter. In this regard of strong objection at home and abroad, Japan has forcefully moving forward with this plan. This is extremely irresponsible and unpopular. The package cannot hide the plan's intention to shift risks. The ocean discharge is against Japan's obligations under UNESCO and UNCLOS and other documents about the conservation of marine environment. It is neither the only nor the safest or best option. Japan opted for the plan on the ground of economic cost, but that is shifting the risks to all humanity. Verbal pledge cannot guarantee the actual result. Japan has so far failed to prove that the water is harmless. Japanese data show that nearly 70% of treated water is not up to standard, but Japan invented the term of treated water, trying to disguise the uncertainty and risks. The contaminated water will have a huge impact on the marine environment, on food safety and public health. And design is a long way from implementation. The treatment systems have not received a third-party evaluation and have malfunctioned multiple times. The process will last for 30 years or even longer, and it will produce a large amount of nuclear contaminated water in the future. Japan cannot prove that the treatment facilities will remain reliable in the long run, nor has it any comprehensive environmental monitoring plan to ensure timely detection of abnormal disposal. Japan cannot use the IAEA's final report to justify its decision. The Japanese government approved the ocean discharge plan back in July 2022 and announced several times that there will be no delays. In fact, the task force of the IAEA has limited mandate and couldn't review any other options than ocean discharge. No matter what the final report says, it cannot be used by Japan to justify its ocean discharge decision. We urge Japan to fulfill its obligations, stop pushing forward the plan, look into other options, and dispose of the water in a science-based, safe and transparent manner, and receive international supervision. We hope Japan will heed the Sun's advice and stop before it's too late. Next one, please.
还有其他的问题吗？
Anything else?
没有的话，今天的记者会到此结束，谢谢大家。
That's all for today. Thank you for coming.